had all of the Teen People magazines. I bought the first one when it came out, and I bought it every month. It came out in 98 or 99 when I was like 14 or 15 years old. And I've always kept them because I'm like, this is kind of a cool little time capsule here. And I was just moving them around because I like to reorganize things very frequently. And I saw I found this issue from August 1999. I would have turned 15 when I got this magazine, and it says Special Columbine Report. And I was curious because Columbine was one of the first very widely publicized and talked about school shootings, and I wanted to hear like what was being said to other kids around that time, because I would have read this when I was 15 years old. So it's quite a long article. I mean, these magazines were big. Like this one was like 250 pages. This is the one that I'm talking about. Will Smith on the cover. So like surviving the Columbine shootings. And it's like quite a long article talking to people who were in the school when it happened. And then I started reading about taking control. And it kind of made my blood boil a little bit, because I'll read it to you and then we can discuss.
Unfortunately, answers are hard to come by. What's important to remember is that despite the heavy media coverage, these incidents are still very rare. Schools are enormously safe, says Lawrence Steinberg, PhD, a professor of psychology at Temple University and a Teen People Advisory Board member. These events get a lot of attention only because they are rare, which doesn't mean that kids aren't going to get scared anyway. It's normal and natural for people to feel anxious when things like this happen, he says. Don't feel weird for feeling that way.
Obviously, wasn't totally rare. Very common, actually. Huge, huge, huge problem now, 25 years later. He then goes on to talk about, opening up and discussing your fears and like letting your emotions out and sharing your thoughts. Okay, yes, I agree with that. And this like really made my blood boil for some reason. Let me know if it triggers you in the same way. So he goes on to say,
one of the things that makes us feel in control, says Steinberg, is when we feel like we are actually making a difference. And that means stepping in and reporting behavior that looks suspicious or potentially dangerous before there's a crisis, so that troubled kids can get help.
Here we go.
Teenagers are the key to stopping this from happening, because they're the ones who often see the sides of a kid who might be dangerous. While it can be impossible to spot a troubled teen from a class picture, there are warning signs such as explosions of rage, lesser acts of violence in a kid's past, and written statements of violence like the messages Eric Harris reportedly left on websites. Students can also help by easing up on teasing and trying to accept differences. Some of the nicest people I know have been in the weirdest cliques. The kinder we make the environment for all kids, the less we poison the troubled ones.
So that's Teen People's solution. Kids, you need to make it so that no one else is going to want to go on a shooting spree. No mention at all of gun reform or anything like that. It's, well, if you didn't bully them, they wouldn't have come in with guns. And I just, mind blown. I just thought I'd share that. What else should I dig through in these old Teen People magazines? Because I'm sure there's a lot of stuff in there that is won't age well.